So we got some people from like Lockwood, Albridge, India. So we got people coming from all over. Some of them from Jersey City also.
All right.
All right, guys, we're getting started, and I don't know who our first chatter is going to be. Irv could be if he actually chatted, but we're going to get the lesson started on time. I'm ex-military. I like to start on time. I like to end on time. So we'll be doing an hour and a half today. I have a different board set up right now because we're going to be talking about opposition. And we're going to be doing endgames because while the first stream I said when you start, you should start at the beginning. In reality, I like to start at the end with an idea of where the end is going to be, where you go at the end of a game, like Checkmate, and we went over that in lesson 2. When you understand what you're trying to do with Checkmate, then you know where you're headed to, right? I heard a streamer today who was talking about the object of the game of chess. We shouldn't say that it's checkmate because people don't know what that means. We should say it's to kill or capture the king. Right? So, and that's fine. I can live with that. The goal is to capture or destroy or kill the king. Okay. But how do you get there? All right. Our first chatter is my brother. LLNP. All right. There he is. And let's turn that on that way. And we can have him be our first chatter. All right. So as you guys know, I will be streaming so people live can listen in. I won't be paying that much attention to chat because I'm doing this lesson with you guys. And so you are my focus, and let's get started. So when we have a king on the board and another king on the board, we have a concept called opposition. And opposition is any time that these two pieces can create a situation when there's an odd number of squares between them.
Marty, you need to share your screen with us.
Thank you for the reminder. I knew I was forgetting something. That helps immensely.
I got it at the same time.
That's awesome. You guys, you're getting the hang of helping me do this right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. And actually, I'm going to have to change it because after I'm done with this one, remind me because you won't see the next screen. Okay, so anytime that we can create a situation when there's an odd number of squares. Right now there's 2 squares. So if it's white to move, we say that white has the opposition because he creates a situation where there's an odd number of squares, 1 square. And if it was black to move, black would have the opposition because there's an odd number of squares. And you might ask, well, what does this have to do with anything? Why do I need to know about opposition? Well, the idea is that you can force your way, right? White can force his way to one of these squares if he has the opposition. If black has the opposition, he can keep white from getting to either one of these 2 squares. And I'll show you in real life practical terms that happening, all right? So black has the opposition. Black moves forward. Hey, TK, thanks for the raid. Guys, we are, and thank you for the follow. We are doing our in real life lesson for our team of knowledgeable young men. They're not all young, they're not old either though, but all our knowledgeable men and women for chess. We're teaching a lesson. So guys, you get to join in, listen in, and learn along with us. But I will have trouble keeping up with chat. Just a disclosure or warning. Disclaimer, because I'll be working with my students. So we're working on opposition. So again, you can create a situation where black can say, you know what, white, you can't get to these 2 squares ever if black has the opposition. So if black has the opposition, he moves here. White loses access to these 3 squares because the king can never put itself under attack, what we call check. And so it can never move forward. And so because black has the opposition, white can't go this way. The best white can do is go to one of these 5 squares. None of these squares scare black. If you move to the left, black can move to the left, taking the opposition again, and you won't get any closer to these 2 target squares we were talking about. If you back up, black can take the opposition again. If you back up more, black can just keep taking the opposition until you get to a possible point where now white can't even get past this row, right? Because white moves first, black never has to let him even get past that row. He will never, ever, ever get to one of these two squares. But the converse is true. If white has the opposition and can create an odd number of squares between the two kings, black now has to move one way or the other. And when he moves one way, white can go the other, and now black cannot stop white from getting to this square. This was our target square, and this was our other target square. Now black could choose to go this way and let us into this target square. And again, you say, well, okay, I get it, but why do I care that white can get to a target square over here? Well, because if I have a pawn that I want to queen, I want this pawn to become queen, right? Well then, how am I going to make that pawn get down there? The way I'm going to get that pawn down there is that I have the opposition. Black has to give way. I get to go to the square. Now I help control these three squares, which means black cannot occupy these three squares. And so my pawn from then on gets to march down, and black cannot stop you. So you want to have the opposition. It is not the same as tempo. Evis, very great question. Hey, Chess Lives, how's it going, Josue? No, it is not the same. And good. If you guys ask questions that are pertinent to the class, I'll try to answer those for sure. But it is not the same as tempo. But you can gain the opposition by losing a move or losing tempo. So let's say my pawn was here as white, and black moves here and says, ha, I have the opposition. You can never get over to these squares. I'm safe. But white can give away the move and say, here, I'll lose the move. Now it's black's turn again, as if white had taken the opposition. I move the pawn, I lose my tempo, and guess what? Now the king has to give way, and I get to win. Now this is a special case when we're on the 6th rank. When we're on the 6th rank, if you ever get this position, white, you will win no matter who has the opposition. And because of that, I call this the magic position. All right, this is the hold on. This is the magic position. I had to put on my what is it? Hogwarts glasses, I guess. All right. So, if it's black to move, black can only go one of these two ways. White gets to come here and usher the pawn all the way down. Check. Check. You move away again. Game over. I get a queen. And as you guys know, when a pawn gets to the 8th rank, it has to promote to either one of the minor pieces. Do we remember what minor pieces are? Anybody? What's a minor piece?
Bishop or a knight.
Bishop or a knight, or a major piece, which are?
A rook or a queen.
Rook or a queen. It cannot become a king. You only get one of those. And it cannot stay a pawn, guys. It cannot stay a pawn. Pawns have to promote. All right. Yes, Harry Potter. You got it. Because this is the magic position. Thank you very much, Harry Potter. So that was if black is to move. How about if white is to move, meaning that we've lost the opposition? All right. So white moves, loses the opposition. Black moves, keeps the opposition. But now, because we're on the 6th rank, this pawn is close enough that this magic happens. Because it's the magic position, black has to go back. If black walks away, this keeps the king out. And you win, right? So the king has to stay in front of the pawn. In fact, the technique is the king should stay in front of the pawn unless he can get the direct opposition. All right, so the black king moves back. Now you get to move here. And the key to this is how you know you're getting this done. You are pushing this pawn without check. Without check. So now black can move, and he can't go here. He can't go here because of the king. He can't take because of the king. He can't move here because of the pawn, but he does have a square. So black moves here, white moves here, and queen's next move. If you were to ever, and this is the problem in this situation, right? Black has the opposition. You move here. Actually, let me think for a sec. Yeah, if you move there, I just take your king. So you move here, I move here. Opposition, right? I take the opposition. You move here with check. You are attacking the king. That is going to be a draw because the only place the white king can go to protect the pawn is here. Can't go here. So he has to go here, and guess what? The king has no legal squares. That's called a stalemate, which is a draw. Okay, yes. If you push that pawn and you say check, it's going to be a stalemate or draw because you're going to lose the pawn. So this is the magic position. If you can get to here, no matter who has the opposition, white wins. This is not the magic position. It looks like the magic position, except the magic position is only if the king is on the 6th rank. And right now it's on the 5th rank. So if white does not have the opposition, you don't get to queen the pawn. Check. We just said check fails to stalemate. All right. So opposition is critical to understanding how to restrict the king's movement. This is the magic position. This is the Muggle's position. In this position, it doesn't matter who to move. It's a draw. In this move, it doesn't matter who to move. White can win and should win if he does it correctly. Okay, we feel good about this?
Yep.
All right, all right. We don't. I believe we have no new students in the room, right? Sorry. We have no new students in the room. Let me, oops. Yeah, I did want to start that anyway, but let me bring up our study we're going to be using. That is not the study we're going to be using. I had the study we were going to be using up and ready to go, but I bounced out of it, I guess. All right, let me share the screen again with you guys so I make sure that you can see the correct screen. And we're going to go over some problems together. And you're going to let you guys play out some things too. All right, so we're going to be working on right now king and pawn. So king and pawn versus king. But before we do that, a quick very quick refresher. First of all, you guys should be already in here. Keith, I'm making sure. Keith, no, Keith, I don't see you in my in this. You're still Keith Love?
That is correct.
One or just what is it?
Oh, it's just Keith Love. That's my name. You want my Lee chess?
Yeah, you're not showing up on the lead chess.
K Love.
Thank you.
K Love.
1. The number 1.
There we go. All right, you're invited. Murph is in there and Irv is in there. All right, everybody's in there now that is here today. So now you will have full access, Keith, because you want to... come on. Hello. Now, why is it not allowing me to change your setting to be a participant? I don't know. They did have a lot of problems. There it is. They did have a lot of problems when they ran a gigantic tournament and had problems. We won't talk about that right now, guys. All right, so what's the... we're going to be looking at, real quick, reminder that you can checkmate with the queen by limiting black squares. And this is just one person's example. And that you can checkmate with a king and rook, right? You limit the king first, and then you just go track them down. And that was incorrect. That was a mistake. You should wait one. And then if he goes here, you mate him. All right, just quick reminder. And then I have to do a quick test because we went over how all the pieces move. We went over how you can do en passant with a pawn. We're going to talk about castling, but you know what? We'll wait till we get more pieces on the board for that. We won't worry about that. By the way, in this game, if it's white to move, what's the outcome? Keith, what's the outcome in this game if it's white to move?
If it's white to move. I'm looking at the board. I'm saying that.
Feel free to speak up for the audience, Keith.
White's gonna lose this game.
All right, it's white to move, and you say white loses the game.
Yes.
All right. So what's the first thing you did to figure that out?
I added up the material.
Okay. Black is definitely winning, right? 10 points for the queen, 3 each. That's 16. Plus he has 2 more pawns, so he's way ahead because white only has 1 little rook left, right?
Yes.
All right. So black is winning, but there is a consideration. Murph, what's the...
It's white to move.
It's white to move. What's the consideration that makes white winning?
The king is behind its 3 pawns. And
Yes.
It's white to move. You can checkmate him with a D8 move.
Yes. So Keith, the back rank is susceptible to attack and checkmate. So even though white is way behind on material, on the board, if it's white to move, white wins. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. I see it. For a second there, I thought that the rook was going to the white square, which the queen would have did it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But so, yep, nope, it's going here. So we have to be cognizant, guys, of the fact that, right, white has a winning move. And so why does he have the winning move? Because of the checkmate patterns we talked about. We said if the king was here, white king were here, keeping the king from moving out, a rook here was checkmate. This is the same concept, right? This is the same, right now, that white king keeps the king out. Well, this is the same concept when we look at this one, because the rook gets to go here and say mate. All right. All right. So now let's get back to the opposition. King and pawn, king and pawn. You guys can move these pieces. Go ahead and try it out. Keith, I'd like you to be white. And we're going to let the first time Irving be black unless he's busy. He's focused. All right. All right. So, Keith, see if you can move a white piece, anyone you'd like. We are on chat. There you go. All right. So, you don't have to do that. You can do that. I'm not telling you what to do. I just want to make sure you can move it. Irving, you should be able to move the pieces. All right, guys. Play it out. Let's see who wins. All right, guys, we're watching. We're just waiting to see. I don't want to say anything because they can hear me, of course, in class. So I'm letting them figure it out. Yes, Coogan, the magic position, my friend. I had to go put on my correct glasses for magic. Yeah, I like it, Busy. That's a nice one. You think we're going to see it, guys? We're going to see the position. No, where are you going there? So the rules, you stay in front of the pawn unless you're taking the direct opposition.
Okay, but that is the move I made. So let's see what Keith does.
But it was the yeah. Okay. Say thank you, Keith, for Irv giving you the game. Giving you the game.
Thank you, Irv.
You're welcome, Keith.
Okay.
So did Keith pay attention to the lesson to the lecture I just gave for 5 minutes?
He did. He's still thinking though here. Okay. He goes there. I'm gonna tie him if I do that. So.
This is why endgames are so important, guys. Look at how much Keith is suffering trying to remember how to do this. You could figure it out, right? You could just calculate it. But the beauty is, right? I love endgames, and the beauty is, yeah, Black had a draw and gave it away. Finish him off, Keith. You deserve a win. Do you remember how to do this?
Yeah.
Because we did it last week. You weren't here, so we'll see. No, it shouldn't have been stalemate. Chess lives. Josue, that wasn't stalemate because he pushed the pawn without check. Yeah, Busy. They're all from New York. I can say that. They don't take offense. Busy said that sounded harsh. Finish him off. Good thing he's not on the clock. Got a phone call.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But I'm a Jedi. Do it. Finish him off.
Execute plan 66.
And Irv, you could say thank you very much, Keith, for giving me a draw anyway.
Thank you, Keith, for giving me a draw anyway.
Oh, fart.
Yep. So let's go back. And there was a lot of mistakes, but I just want to go over this last one that Irving made. So the simple rule to try to draw is the king stays in front of the pawn unless you are taking the direct opposition. So the correct move was here. Then no matter where white goes, you could take the opposition. By moving to here instead, Irving actually allowed white to gain the opposition at the 11th hour and thereby allow the pawn to advance without check and losing the game. Should have lost the game. And then Keith forgot how to checkmate. Because Keith, we've talked about this 100 times and we said the simplest way to checkmate is to narrow this king down to one of the edges of the boards, right? It has to be here or here or here or here. The queen has to lock him into the edge of a board. And then after, so you had a chance right here. You could have said, okay, I'm going to go here. And now the king has to slide this way. I'm going to go here. And let's say the king comes back. What do we have? We have opposition. Which in this case, white doesn't care. White wants black to get the opposition because now I can move here. King can't go up. King can't stay here. King has to back up. And now once the king backs up, it's easy breezy to checkmate the king. All right, so that was an epic fail by both of you. First Keith failed because he shouldn't have been able to queen the pawn. Then Irv failed by letting him queen the pawn, and then Keith failed because he should have checkmated Irving. So that was about as bad as we've seen king and pawn endgame finish up. Murph, show him how it's done, man. What do you want, Murph? White or black?
I'll take black.
All right, Murph has black. Keith, go for it. Now, it's interesting Murph took black because who has the chances to win, Keith?
White.
White has the only chances to win, correct. Good job of staying in front of the pawn. And now I wanted to be able to say this last time in Irving and Keith's game. And let's see if Murph allows me to say it. Do you guys remember what this is called? This is called the Muggle position. Remember, this is not the magic position. This is the Muggle position. So we've achieved the Muggle position. So let's see if I'm right. And black should be able to draw no matter whose move it is from this point. Actually, it's not true, right? Because if it's black to move, I mean, if it was black to move, black can still draw, but not by going here. Black would draw by going here. But it's white's move. So it should be an easy draw. Yes, Patrick. Yes, we're teaching about opposition today. Yes. So again, the simple rule on defense, stay in front of the pawn unless you can take the direct opposition. And what do we have? We have a draw. All right. Now, you guys should know, especially Keith, you need to know, you actually should win this game. White should win this game. So
one more thing before we go try this again. We went over this a couple of times. One of the rules for the start here is the white pawn should not be in front of the king.
Yeah, I try not to give that away. I try to sink it in, but yes. And someone in chat already said that the adage they heard, or the way they heard a strong player explain it once, is that the king is the adult here and the pawn is the child. And you don't have your child walk across the street on their own in front of you. You walk in front and you hold their hand as you take them across the street.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, guys, we are looking for the magic position. Did we already forget what the magic position looked like? All right? We are trying to achieve, I gave it to you here, that we're trying to achieve a magic position, not the Muggle position, the magic position. So the king has to be in front of the pawn when it gets to the 6th rank. You got to figure out how you get it there. And I even gave you hints during the opening when we talked about the fact that white, if he doesn't have the opposition, can gain it back by giving away a move, right? Losing a move on purpose. Hey, Janet, glad you can make it. We are in class and we are live on stream, as you should know.
Okay.
All right, guys. So let's have Keith has tried it. Janet, I believe you are in the chapter already, in the study. You would have to join us in here. You're not live yet on Lichess, so when you get on Lichess, you could participate. So meantime, let's have Murph use white, since Murph did black very well. Let's have Murph use white against Keith.
All right.
So Keith, before we go too much further, what did I tell you was the rule to defend?
Stay in front of the pawn.
Is your king anywhere in front of the pawn?
I was going to start moving that way.
What do you mean? You started out in front of the pawn, Keith. I put you to begin with in front of the pawn.
He gave me a wide berth.
And every move you've made has gotten you, not one move you made has kept you in front of the pawn. Do you agree? Do you agree, Keith, that where you went was... Oh, okay. Just checking. But you are going to make Murph think, so this is fun.
Yes.
You shouldn't give him too much trouble, but at least you're going to make him think a little bit.
Hey, Janet.
Hey, chat, if you want to type up what you think should be done, you can. They aren't looking at what you're saying. They're not looking at the stream. They are on Zoom with me. So you feel free to give suggestions, answer the questions I ask. You guys can do all of that. No, Josue. Murph did better than what you offered. Much better than what you offered, Josue. No, not even when you said it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, but he didn't. He didn't abandon him. He's right there with him. So Keith, I said that you needed to be in front of the pawn.
Now behind you.
I think you're exactly in the opposite position than what I suggested. You are actually behind the pawn.
You meant the other front?
Yes, yes. I meant the front, like the direction they were going, not the front as if they could move backwards, which they can't. Pawns cannot move backwards, guys. This is the other lesson that we learn as we do this. And then let's see if Murph knows how to checkmate better than you did. Now, you remember you stalemated with the queen, right? You can't.
Yes.
Nothing says Murph had to make that a queen. He could have made it a rook. Do you think he could have made it a bishop?
Yeah, he could have if he chose to.
And what would happen if he made it a bishop?
It would be a draw because you can't check with just the bishop.
Can't checkmate with just the bishop. Very good. How about a knight? Could he have made it a knight?
He could have made it a knight.
And?
He would not have been able to checkmate.
Very good. All right, so go ahead and finish him off. Come on, Keith, you can stop stalling. Murph's going to finish you off. See, guys, they're used to this. It's okay. This is the East Coast.
How many moves are you going to...
Yeah, we want to see if he could do it fast, not slow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might just take a long time to get yours done, but you actually stalemated your opponent.
I'm so out of practice.
It's good.
Hola, Chescudo, ¿cómo estás? Thanks, Linear. Linear says if you're not talking smack, you're not playing chess.
Oh, that's so untrue.
Yeah, you tell him, Keith. That is so untrue. So untrue. But it's funny, but that's totally untrue. Muy bien, mi amigo. Yeah, it's always embarrassing to talk smack and not win. That would be bad. So Murph, also nice of you to stalemate your opponent.
Much.
Thank
I
you,
didn't
Murphy.
realize the point. Yeah.
All right, so it's really good. And why is this really good, guys? Because you're hopefully going to learn. Even Murph, who I thought he's not going to stalemate, he knows better. Remember I said you could get a rook. You wouldn't have stalemated if that was a rook. But let's talk about where you made your mistake. Right here, well, actually, you even had a more interesting position. So here I'm okay. You have an interesting move here. Can you find it? You want to find a move that limits Black's king, right, from getting forward so that he actually has to go backward. Can you force it? Remember, your job is to force the king over here. So where could you move right now to make that happen, Murph? Keith?
King to E5.
What?
King to E5.
King to E5? Yes, because the king takes away this square, and this square, right? And the queen takes away these squares. Where else could you go? You could also go to king to E6. Still takes away these squares.
Okay.
All right, so either one of those is fine. And where does the king have to go? Here or here? So let's say the king comes here. Where would you move now with your queen? Hint, hint that you should move your queen. But you didn't have to, right? You could have moved the king. Where could you move with the queen to be safe?
Well, you're always safe if you check him.
No, why are you doing that, Murph? Go back, please. We're trying to keep him on this rank until I can get the king across from him. So this blocks where my king is supposed to be. Ideally, I want my king here and him to have to still be here because then I have checkmate, right? And I also have check. He has to move here, and then I have checkmate here. But I have checkmate right away in this scenario. But with this move, I have no checkmate. He has to move. How am I going to get the king over there? Watch. Now, how do I get the king in front of him? March him all the way over here? So what would be cleaner? What would be a cleaner way to limit the king? Yes, I like that, Patrick.
Yeah, there you go.
No. Oh, well, but you moved the king. I gave you a hint. How can you limit him with your queen? So if you move the king, he moves here. And you still have time, so how would you still do it? And it's not check, because after the check, he escapes. It's moving to G2 to take away this whole file. Now the king, wherever he goes, you're going to mate him quickly. He can go here, you go here. If he goes into the corner, you have checkmate here. If he comes back this way, you have checkmate here, 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 or here. Do we see all those? So instead of moving our queen in front of the king repetitively, and if we go back, we see that you did that. You put the king in front, you put the king in front, you put the queen. This time it's okay. Now if you just moved your king over and squeeze him back to this file, and you did, you brought your king over. So now what you should do? Any one of these squares forces him back here. Now this does too. But what happens when you do that? Look at all the squares you took away. So he went over here. Now he has only one square available. And if you move that king to take away that one square, which you did, you allowed yourself to stalemate him. Where if you had taken the opportunity to say, you know, first I'm just going to give him that whole area over here. Only squares I'm taking away are these. He's got squares to go to. I'm not going to stalemate him. But by going here, right now, you have to identify what is his free squares. He only has one. If you take it away without saying check, it's stalemate. So I find this very useful and interesting that my students that I thought understood checkmates with a queen and king quite easily, last week we actually went over it and practiced it. We're stalemating. Multiple times now we've had stalemates. 2 times in a row. But good job, Murph, on leading the pawn, being out in front. Keith, terrible job of keeping your king in front of the pawn. The rule is to keep your king in front of the pawn unless you're taking the direct opposition. So I don't know what you were doing way over here. Weird place to go. That is not anywhere near in front of the pawn. We're trying to stop the pawn, not go on a walkabout. All right. So that's part of it. Now, there's also a thing called indirect opposition. So I want to bring up the other screen real quick. And I'm going to, I believe, have to reshare because you guys can't see.
Should we go back to the Zoom, Marty, or are you going to have us go to a different study?
Yeah, you should go back to the Zoom because I'm going to, it's not in a study because I have to build the screen. So yes, please go back to Zoom for a moment, and then I will bounce back. So that's good to remember. So I can almost leave the Zoom on this screen because what you're telling me is if you are on, you won't need it. Okay, I can actually, let me share the other screen with you guys. I'll just share the whole screen, and I think that'll make life easier for you because then it doesn't matter which one I'm showing. All right, so guys, when we talk about the opposition and we talked about gaining the opposition, we said it was creating an odd number of squares. Now we know there are 8 rows or 8 ranks in the chessboard. How many are we apart right now, guys?
6.
6. That's an even number. So whoever has the move can gain the opposition, correct?
Yes.
Whoever has the move gets the opposition. So if black has to move, he takes the opposition. He can take the opposition again, right? 3 squares. Watch this. He can take the opposition again, and now he draws. Now he draws, because wherever you go, he could keep the opposition, or he could stay in, well, actually, he could even take the opposition here. He doesn't have to, remember, you don't stay in front of the pawn if you could take the opposition. But now he stays in front of the pawn. He's going to have a draw all the way down the board. So the funny thing is, here, black comes up, white needs to try to steal the opposition. And one of the ways to do it is this, because watch. How many squares are between them right now? 4 squares, because black didn't notice that white did not come forward. So now white gets to go here, and if you come forward, I just grab the opposition. Now white has the opposition, white's going to win this game. But didn't have to, right? Because as long as black goes first, if you go sidestep, he can sidestep. Because I'm keeping an odd number of squares between. Now my friend Busy showed me something where, and Busy, you're gonna have to maybe even help remind me, but let's go back to the study, which now you guys will see in Lead Chess if you're not looking at the Zoom screen. So that's I have it under Busy's name because he showed me something, an easy way that I didn't even know about. And he says basically indirect opposition. That means when we're not in a straight line. It says, draw a rectangle where the kings sit in opposite corners. If all of the squares are the same color on the corners, you have opposition if it's your opponent's move, right? So you take the opposition by grabbing that location. All right, so let's see if Busy's beautiful thought process works for us. And so let's get rid of this pawn. So right here, these all are the same color, squares. And so if I step into that and create that situation, it's saying that I have the indirect opposition. Another way, though, is you could just count the squares in a direct line. 5, guys, odd number. White has the opposition. He stepped and created the opposition. So pretty interesting. You could go here, and rectangles all of the same color because white moved first, right? Now black has the opposition. So we said white had the opposition. So let's say black has to move. White keeps the opposition. White has to move. Keeps the, and we know if we get here, we have an odd number of squares, so we know we're in the opposition. So that's one way to think about it, that, oh, if I can keep doing that, then I can keep the opposition. So now I have 4 squares in between, and the colors are not the same. I've actually lost the opposition. And if I come here, I just created 3 squares. Look, all of them are the same color again. The corners are all the same color. So black has stolen...
Again? One more time with this?
Sure. So the idea is that right now, here's a rectangle where all the corners of the rectangle are the same color. And the king is on one of them. If I can step onto that corner, I have the opposition. I'm saying you can also notice that you have indirect opposition because you have odd number of squares. So if black goes here, where can you go to keep the opposition? If you wanted to keep the distant or indirect opposition, where would you go?
A1. No.
A1 works.
Or C1.
Or
A1
C1.
or C1.
Yep. A1 or C1.
They both work.
Now, can you keep the opposition here? Where do you go? Black just moved here. And without having to...
H2.
H2 is impossible.
I'm sorry, B2.
B2, okay, and where else? There's another square you can also go to.
D2.
Yes. Now I'm going to go with D2 because I want to get closer. Where could you go here?
So the square makes sense. The rectangle's a little bit wacky.
How you figure?
Same Same premise. Yeah.
I didn't say square.
I can't,
I said rectangle.
because I step into the, because I step into it.
Yeah, you hit the corner.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, and if black goes here, where can you go to keep the opposition?
To D3.
Is that the opposition? Oh,
Okay.
D3. Sorry, D3? Is that the opposition?
It's the same color.
Is it? Are all four squares of the rectangle the same color?
No, they're not.
And you would definitely lose the opposition because black would take it like that, right?
Okay.
Odd
So
number.
it would have to be E3. I mean E. That's wrong. E2.
E2, odd number of squares.
Yeah.
Or C2 would have been okay.
C2 also, yes, odd number, not odd number squares, but we can see that we create the rectangle.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully that's helpful. That was a little one that that was the one I didn't know, and Busy taught me that one. So Chescudo, no, I will look at it though and add it to my repertoire if it works out. So what we did earlier, Chescudo, you missed. We said, can you get the white king to either one of these squares, which is the same type of exercise. Can you force white to be able to put his king on one of these two squares? And can black keep you from putting white's king on one of those two squares? And we talked about it, guys, in the sense of being able to promote that pawn, but also please notice that it's also handy in checkmate situations because you want to get opposition so that the king, see, this is stalemate, guys. You want to have this queen away from here so that, hey, that king can't come forward. I have the opposition. I get to move down here and say checkmate. And note that if that was a rook right here, this is not stalemate anymore. He has a square. So it's much harder to stalemate, with a rook. Now, you have to be careful because if the king gets too close to you, right? Well, let's not keep going forward. We shouldn't have been going forward. But he comes here and he attacks your rook. You can't let him take your rook. But you could just run him all the way over there.
So a little bit different, Marty, than what we were just working on. When you've got the pawn on the board, you want to take the opposition. But in the case of if you're black in the scenario where you had the rook on the board or the queen, you don't want to take the opposition because that'll mean that you might get checkmated.
As black, you do not want the opposition because because that means these squares are gone and that's checkmate. But so like white can squeeze them into the corner too. So now you have to come back, get the opposition, and you get mated. So there's no way to stop it. You can stall it, and if the person doesn't know what they're doing, you might get a draw. But yeah, basically you want to stay alive, staying alive, staying alive. Okay, so that was that exercise, which so far no one has successfully navigated. It's kind of depressing. All right, so I feel like we should try this one more time with someone successfully navigating it. With white to move, white should win.
Okay.
With black to move, black should draw. Because black has the opposition. Whoever moves first has the opposition. So, oh man, who's left? Who thinks they can queen that pawn and then actually checkmate and not stalemate? So Murph did it right. Murph got the pawn down there, but to be fair, Keith did not give the best resistance. Keith took like the road of least resistance. So I will play black to give us the best chance. All right, Janet, show me you can do this, Janet. Bring it home. You get to go first.
So where do I go first?
Wait. If I'm going to tell you all the moves, then I'm playing myself.
No. I mean in lead chess. I'm in lead chess.
Oh, you need to go to our study. You need to go to studies you contribute to, and you're looking for the one titled Introduction to Chess Post Rules. I'm going to assume you don't have too many studies that you contribute to. So you go to learn.
Studies I contribute to.
Study.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
All right. Now I just have a pawn and a king, though.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Oh, okay. All right.
We did.
Here we
check.
go.
If you don't feel comfortable, we can find another way to
No,
make
I'm
this
good.
happen. Okay.
I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
I love seeing my fireworks go off, especially because they're all superhero based.
You seen the new Spider-Man movie yet?
Not yet. I hope to. Hopefully I can go see it over the Christmas break. Being at a Catholic university, we get a long Christmas break. I don't have to go back to work until after January 3rd. So,
January?
yep, I don't go back until January 4th.
Wow.
Yeah. So guys, what do I say the rule was? I can't take the opposition because she has it, so I stay in front of the pawn. Now I can't, I could stay in front of the pawn by backing up, but that would give away the opposition. If I went here, she would go here, and that would be the magic position. So instead, we're going to take the opposition. Since she gave it to us, we're going to take it. Oh, I'm going to stay in front of the pawn, guys. And I'm going to hit that Muggle position. Whose dogs? Whose dogs?
Hold on. Jenna, can you get that?
I'll just mute you for a moment, Jan, until the dogs are quiet. No worries. I just muted you. You're good. Oh, it's my turn. Oh, I got to take the opposition. That's the rule.
I thought that was the Muggle dog.
Oh, that was the Muggles. Yes, the Muggle dog was barking about the position.
Dog named Muggles.
It's called a stalemate, Janet. I can't move.
Oh, we did that again. Oh.
Anybody else? We've had everyone. Irving, you haven't had. Did you have white yet?
No.
All right. Why don't you try white? Because you had black and you failed. Let's see if you can do it. Let's see if you can do it white.
Come on, Irv, you can do it.
Well, I'm happy you're ready because he's thinking, guys.
Yeah, we got that part right. All right. You can give away a move, yeah? Good job. Move it up, move it up.
So for my chat, so you know, my students in this class have different ranges of ability, and they kind of had a ladder. You know, they kind of know who's the strongest player in their group right now and who's their weakest player in this group right now. And so I'm finding it interesting that although I've taught this to them before, we are reteaching stuff because we're doing this class from beginner to expert. We're taking you from beginner to expert, one lesson a week. It might take us over a year. That's 52 lessons maximum to get up to the expert lessons. But I'm finding it very useful and interesting that my students actually don't know how to do this. Who would you guys would say is the strongest out of you in the class tonight?
I would say Murphy.
All right, Murph, you're the strongest player. Murph didn't get it done right. Murph, who do you say is the strongest? You? For any of our chess. I mean, for chess in general.
Just in general, Irv, no question.
Okay, because he's also failed us. You know that, right? I mean, I hope you're noticing it, Murph. I mean, you should look right now and notice that this is a draw.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where he fell down?
The pawn doesn't go before the king.
Yep.
That's the first rule.
So do you know where he slipped up? Did you notice it when he made the mistake? Because there was one move that he made that I was like, I didn't smile, but inside I was like, yes, I got to draw. So as black, you're just hoping that black makes a mistake. I mean, white makes a mistake in this situation and gives you a draw. And he did. Whoa, don't move us around too much. It's white's move.
I want to go back to where I made the mistake.
Well, yeah, so you admit it's a draw?
Yes.
Okay, then we got to let Murph try. Murph, have you tried white yet? I think you did. I think you did it against Keith, and then you just didn't checkmate, right?
Right, I didn't get the checkmate part.
All right, so let's see if you could do this part right with somebody playing it correctly, not like what Keith did where he went on a walkabout. No walkabouts for me, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay.
Because Irv, we can't look at it because I deleted it. Sorry. But there was a point that first of all, you almost had 3-move repetition there for a while. You almost had 3-move repetition.
3-move repetition, is that a draw or a loss?
That's a draw. Never, you're not going to be a loss for just doing 3-move repetition.
There it is. Take the pawn.
Hang on.
You got it.
Oh, what is that called?
Magic position.
The magic position.
This part I understand.
yeah. This part, at this point, it's really hard to mess up. That's why we want to get to this position.
It's the checkmating part that I had the problem with.
Yeah, we noticed. But also, I didn't know if you actually could do this because Keith made it easy on you, remember?
Okay, fair enough.
And he still goes for the queen.
Execute plan 66.
He still goes for the queen, even though we told him it's risky.
He's got it. He's got this. Come on, Murph.
Come on, Murph.
Come on, Murph.
Bring it home.
So you did the hard part, right? You queen the pawn. That's the part we were teaching. But not knowing that we needed to review checkmates too. So that was a bonus problem that we didn't realize we had to solve.
Okay.
too, Murph.
So how frustrating could it be, and you guys did it, all of you did it tonight, to have a one game, a queen and a king against a king, and then what? Then just stalemating your opponent and giving them a draw. So we don't want that anymore. We want you guys to find the mates.
Come on, Murph. You got him.
You have it, Merv. We all see it.
There it is. Finish him off.
All right.
Woo!
All right, so obviously this is something you guys definitely can use practice with. But let's go on with learning more things tonight. We still have 23 minutes left. So how about this position, guys? What happens here?
I think it should be a draw.
To draw.
Why is that?
Because we can't get the black king out of the corner.
Well, if it was white to move, we can't?
Well, you can't get the magic position because the pawn has to stay on H.
Let's say I got the magic position. All right, I've got the magic position. Can white win? And let's say it was black to move, right? All right, I get the magic position. It's black to move. Can I win? Can I win?
No, because you can't check with the king.
Right, this is still going to be a draw, guys. No matter what, because if I say check, it's a draw. That's a stalemate. And if I don't say check, so let's make it so I don't say check. I got to do a little triangulation here, guys. 1 second. All right, so now if black is here and I go here, it's stalemate. So with a rook pawn, it's stalemate regardless of the magic position or not. Either rook pawn. If the black king can get to the corner, then it's a stalemate. It's going to be a draw. Okay? Only with rook pawns. If the pawn were here, then it would work because the king could go out the other side, right? Like right now, if I went here without check, the king can't go anywhere. But if there was a square to the right of it, the king could get out. All right, so rook pawns mean it's going to be a draw. How about this one?
Draw.
It's a rook pawn.
It's a rook pawn, but can the king get there in time?
1, 2, 3. I think the king might be able. It's 5 to 5, right?
Yeah, it looks that way, right? So if this king, see this square? So if the king can step in there, it's a draw. Now, what's interesting is because the pawn moves two squares, can you catch the pawn? Yes, you still can. But notice if the king was just 1 square away further, right?
Right.
King is here. You got to remember the pawn can move 2 on the first move. And so if the king was here, it would not be a draw. Okay? You'd be able to queen the pawn before the king could get there. All right. In fact, I'm going to probably make a version of this. I'm going to do it right now for later because it's useful. So let me go to the board editor again, and let's clear that board. Let's put that king, pawn, and king here. And now the question is, can you stop it, right? Okay. All right, there you go. Save that chapter. And we'll move it up to the chapters we're working on. All right, guys, so yes. All right, so we've already gone over the magic position. Right? Doesn't matter whose move it is. Boom. And we've gone over the Muggle position. This one, by the way, looks like exactly like the magic position, but it's on a Rook file. So this is a truly Muggle position. Right? Because this doesn't matter. All right, quiz question time. Quiz question time. Most of you guys should remember this and know this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who would you rather be, black or white? You guys take a few seconds and decide. Who would you rather be, black or white? I'm not being racist, honey. Which side of the board would you rather be? The black pieces or the white pieces?
White.
White has more material.
White has more material. All right. Okay. You know, I'll buy that. So let's run you over. Do me a favor and look at the shared screen now for a second. Because since that's a good point. That's a good point. How about now? Do you want to be white or do you want to be black?
Still want to be white.
Oh, because white has more material, but he has double pawns, right?
Yeah, but black can't checkmate you.
Oh, okay. How about now? Who do you want to be?
White.
You still like? How about you, Janet? You like white? Yeah, she says yes. Okay. How about now?
I think,
How about now?
well, definitely white, because you can queen.
Ah, and black can't. Black has no chance to win this game. Black is playing for a draw. Black is playing for a draw. Black is playing for a draw. Black is playing for a draw, guys. This is the best black can do, is draw in this situation. Now, you will find situations, because here black can win, right? Black can checkmate with the king and the rook. But in this situation, white might win, because you have 3 connected pawns. And if you had those connected pawns were down here in a queenable state, you might want to be white, because a queen is better than a rook. So there are going to be situations where less material, you'd still rather be that side, because the threat is you're actually going to end up with more material. Now let's just say we put a pawn here so black can't even like annoy us with checks nonstop. Because that would be the goal, for black to just keep checking us, and we're going to work our way down till we stop them from checking us. All right, so like in this position, who would you rather be? White's going to queen a pawn. Right, so this is not a bad one. Let's throw that into the study also. All right, so if we go back to the study.
Marty.
Yeah.
Quick question, just since you're asking questions. You can't checkmate with a bishop or a knight. But you can checkmate with both, correct?
Say it again, I couldn't hear you.
You cannot checkmate with just a bishop or a knight.
Okay, correct.
But you can with both.
Yes, a bishop, 2 bishops you can.
Bishops or 2 knights.
2 bishops you can, 2 knights if the other opponent has a pawn. And I believe you are right with a bishop and the knight. You might, yeah, you should be able to checkmate.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
only
but those are all,
so-
and those are all ones that we're not even going to be covering, and that's later on because we're at the
Right.
beginning stage. But right now, you should be able to win this game with white.
Oh yeah.
So anybody not believe me and want to play black?
I believe it.
Okay.
I want to be white in this case.
Yes. So white in this case, you'd want to be white because you still have 2 pawns, but they're ready to queen. If you were in not such a beautiful position, and you were
In that position, it doesn't matter which one queens first, right?
no, well it depends. If it's white to move, yeah, you could queen with either
Right.
one. If it was white to move,
Right.
okay. Who would you want to be in this position? And I'm on the shared screen. You have to look at the shared screen.
Think I might want to be black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be black. Black wins this game.
Yeah.
Again, I can show you how. First of all, the rook keeps the king out. So this king against 2 pawns, no problem. I'm going to be able to stop those pawns and then win them. So this is an easy win for black. But if those pawns are down here, this is a win for white. Same 2 pawns. So I can't ask you the general question, what do you want, 2 pawns or the rook? Because then it should be, depends on the situation. But I could ask you 2 pawns or a bishop, and it doesn't matter the situation. It totally does not matter.
White. Yeah.
Because the 2 pawns have a chance to mate, the bishop does not. Right? But the rook has a chance to mate. And so depending on where the pawns are, back here, I want the rook. I definitely want the rook. But if the question was a bishop or a knight, I want the pawns. Because the only person that has a chance to win is white. If white makes the worst mistakes in the world and loses both pawns, it's a draw. If black makes the worst mistakes in the world, white queens and can win. Right? But I don't care how badly white plays, it's still at best, the best thing that black can get is a draw. So I want to be the side that has a chance of winning. All right, so let's move back to boom, 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 boom. We did the magic. We did the not quite magical because it's a rook pawn. What's the outcome of this game? Take your time and look it over.
White.
Who's moving first?
Somebody's asking a great question that you should always ask in these instances when I ask you whose side do you want or who's winning. And that question is very simple. It's whose move is it? So it doesn't matter though in this case. So let's say it's black to move.
It's gonna win.
I want to be white.
Yeah, white's gonna win because the king has to move somewhere, and then they're gonna promote that pawn.
It doesn't matter who to move. You want to be white. These 2 pawns cannot protect each other. The king is too far away. This king is going to eat both of those pawns. And then the king is going to walk over here and squeeze this king using opposition until one of these pawns queen. This king can never take this pawn because if he takes the pawn, so it's white to move. If you take the pawn, you can't catch the pawn from behind. You're too slow. You cannot catch the pawn. So black can never take. So you move here. Now black can't even go here, right? Because you still can't catch it from behind. That pawn still queens. So the best he could do is this. You don't push this pawn though. Because if you push this pawn, you just made it a draw. When you had a win. But you could just go here. You take. He has no better moves. You take. There's no better moves. He can't even take the opposition on the side. You take the side opposition. He can go here if he likes. And you can say, good. Now, you have to be careful. Because guess what? You could still stalemate somebody. But, it's not too hard not to stalemate. He has squares. And you could queen. And then you should be able to win this, right, Murph? Okay. What's the outcome on this game, guys? Take your time. Take a hard look at it. Think it through. Hey, Brandon.
Well, let me see here. We got on the rook side, but we do have this bishop here.
Look at the color.
What do you mean, Murph? Elaborate.
I was just giving him a hint.
Oh, okay.
Who are you giving a hint to?
You.
It's for all of us.
Yeah, but Murph knows the answer, so he's trying to help you. He heard you thinking out loud, I think.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to take let's slide the king over one. think white can win.
All right, white can win. Go ahead and play white. Murph will play black.
Alright. I'm going first, Murph.
Yep.
This is in
Same study.
Chapter 14.
14. Okay.
Yep. If you have sync on, it should have dragged you along with me.
Yep.
So go for it, Keith.
Alright. I'm thinking, oh man.
Murph, you don't have to think too hard. You only had one legal move. I love it when I watch people play games. They have one legal move, and they take like 3 minutes sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I can understand if you don't know that you have only one legal move, but how long does it take them to actually figure that out? And then it's just humorous to me. So that time you had 2 legal moves, right? You could have moved to either one, and so you picked the correct one. So that's good.
Alright, if I move that bishop, that's a tie. Okay, so.
And you did stalemate him.
Ah!
And
Alright.
unfortunately, we can give you as many tries as you like.
Yeah.
You're not going to not stalemate him.
You mentioned that you have a bishop, and I said to you the color. The bishop's on a different color than the square that the pawn queens.
So you can never get him out.
You will never get the king out.
The best you could do is stalemate like you did. Because the king can never chase him out, and the bishop can't chase him out because the bishop can't hit him. Which is different than this position. So Keith, now try it because now you should be able to win. I'll play black. I only have one legal move, so my job is easy. I can't go here. I can't go here. I can't go here. I can't go here. I have to go here. Oh, I can go back. I can't go there. You're so annoying, so mean. Easy breezy.
I'm taking the queen.
Right? Easy. So the difference between the two is the bishop is not hitting the correct square.
Wrong color.
It has to be on the same color as the pawn needs the queen. Got it?
Got it.
Get it? Got it? Good. All right. I'll clean these guys off. We only have 5 minutes left in the lesson. Let's talk about 2 special cases. If it's white to move here, what's the outcome? Remember, chat, you can take a shot at it too if you're still out there. I need to get a song clip from the wall. Is anybody out there? Hello?
Well, it's white to move?
Yes,
Yes.
white to move.
Okay.
What are you thinking, Murph?
Well, we did this before.
Yes, we have. So if you remembered it from then, it's...
White should be able to queen.
So which one of these pawns are you moving?
And that would be correct. That is a win. Hey, thanks, Sudakus. Yeah, that's a win. And yes, if I take here, what happens?
Pass pawn.
You got it. And if I don't take, Murph just takes. Right? And I can't get here in time. And it's over. All right. Same idea, but let's look at it from Black's point of view. It's Black to move. What's the outcome? And if you think this position ever happens, I actually had 2 of my students get into this position. There was actually 2 other pawns, like over here somewhere, and they let them lose this pawns, not realizing that white could queen. And they traded off, they let them get these pawns got taken off, and then white won the game. Because he didn't remember that white could win in this situation. But it's Black to move.
If Black is moving, they just do the same thing that White just did. Move the middle pawn.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a problem.
Is it?
I don't know. Move the middle pawn. Okay, so it's Black's move, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
White's. I'm sorry,
Right move.
it's White's move. Okay, go ahead, Janet.
Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay here for the next minute until class ends.
Look out here. Okay.
All right, so Janet, the only problem is you could have made a pass pawn, but I'm gonna get a pass pawn a lot faster than you.
Yeah, I see that.
So now you lose.
Yeah.
Can we go-
But
can we go
you
back?
were close. You were close.
So I have to take this guy?
Yes. You're hoping for a draw here, not a win.
Oh, I see.
Oof.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're
So let's do this. Who wins now?
Black. 'Cause Black can come down and get that pawn.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Go ahead. You're Black.
All right.
Go ahead, Keith. You do it.
I'll try.
Or let's back up. Let's first ask you what happens if I had taken. What's the outcome this time?
I'm gonna win.
Okay. Let's do it this way first. And show me a win.
White's move.
Alright. I'm trying to move it. It's not letting me move it.
White's move.
Because it's
You have
White's
to go
move.
to the-
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't he want to keep opposition?
You could have.
He's just
He's got it now. He's got opposition now.
Take it.
Alright. Okay. Oof.
Flank.
It's alright. Oh, and I know what he's gonna do. Oh, damn it, I lost it. Oh!
Hey, watch your language. I have little kids watching.
Oh, I didn't know that was it.
Yeah, that's a bad word.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Don't you? Yours nearly as old as me. Don't you remember TV when they
No,
didn't
don't
allow
like
you to say
that.
those words on TV?
I don't think you wanted to go back.
Where'd you want them to go?
I wanted the pawn to move up.
Okay,
Oh, thank you, Janet.
go ahead.
This is where I got in a stalemate, and I didn't see.
You're already
the rest
you're already in a draw.
Yeah.
You're already going to be in a Muggle position. You could do it again. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's a draw. Now, that said, since white, right now, because like you said, black is closer than white, So white is playing for a draw. If white makes the mistake of not taking, then black actually can win. Because although I take the opposition, I've got 2 pawns. And with 2 pawns, I don't care about the opposition. I don't care about anything. You can have that position. I can go here. You can stay in front of the pawn. I've got 2 pawns. I'm going to win. So for white to get the draw, white actually has to take the pawn. And now all he has to do is when you take this pawn, white has to then go here. So if you noticed, right here, look what I did. I did not go here. If I had went here, black wins. Because black has the opposition. And now white does have to give way, and black can flank, as Janet was hoping. But if you watched, I did not go here. I went here. I also could have went here. And if you say, if I take, you're going to get the opposition, so I won't take. I'll go, okay, don't take. And we can do this dance all day long. We could do this dance all day long. All I have to do is make sure that whenever you take this pawn, I'm not already in the square. Because that would be giving you the opposition. So like if you try to trick me by going here, I can't go here. If I go here, you take and you have the opposition. So I have to take the indirect opposition. So that when you take, I get the opposition, it's a draw. So that's, to me, this is one of the most exciting positions, because if you looked at this position and you said black to move, what's the outcome? Either black wins or draws. But it's not by doing the trick where you get a passed pawn, right? You can't, you're right, this would work because he would take and then you'd run, but he's going to get 3 passed pawns before you get 1 down there. Right, so you have to take. And you have to be careful, right? Because what happens if you take this way?
He passes.
Yeah, white wins. White wins. But if black takes the correct way, if white just makes the mistake of trying to hold on to 2 pawns, he's going to lose both of those pawns because I have you boxed out. And when I get over here and take off both these pawns, I win easy. So this is one where white has to know that he wants to trade down. Make sense?
In the beginning, would it be better to bring the king down than to take the pawns?
You mean like back here?
Yeah.
I mean, you could. Yeah, you could try to get the... But no, watch what happens. You just gave white the move. And we already saw that this wins for white, right? Oops, I did that backwards, by the way. This already wins for white, right? Because now we get a queen way before you do.
Okay.
So no, you can't move your... If you're black, you cannot take the time to try to get your king over here and eat these pawns, because they're going to queen. This is the only move for black. This is the only move for black. This doesn't work. Do you know how to win this one? What would you do if you were white in this case?
Move that pawn to G6.
All right, if you move G6, he can lock it up. And now black wins because he's going to eat your pawns. So if you look, you say, well, if I move here, he eats he could block it. If I go here, he takes and it's locked. So what's the only choice you can do that doesn't immediately mean that he can lock everything up?
H6?
H6 is the only move. So you have to find it because it's the only chance you have. If you lock everything up, his king is going to get here before you do, and he wins. How does this work? What do you want black to do? Let's say he takes.
Take back.
No! You take back, you lose.
Oh, right, because everything's locked.
And the king gets over here first. No, you push.
Right. And he takes,
or take the other way.
and you take, and now you're past pawn.
Now you're a fast pawn, baby. Woo!
Take the F pawn.
White gets there first.
Yep, by far. So yeah, this is the only
But
move.
Once white gets there, does he go after that pawn that's trying to queen?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he could check him for, yeah, but he's going to eat all those pawns and then get another queen if he wants. So yes, again, black can't take the time to do this. Black can't move either one of these pawns. This is the only move that draws. This is the only move that draws. And if white doesn't play it right, he could win. But this is the only move that draws. And consequently, with the white to move, that's the only move that wins. Because if you move your king first, right, then black can do this and stop you from winning.
Can I make the top of these for tomorrow?
All right? All right, guys, that's the lesson for tonight. We will start off, actually, this was a new one we just created. We'll probably start off with this one, but we'll probably have to review this for you guys because it does, obviously, it's you're still having trouble with these.
Thanks, Marty.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Marty.
All right, guys, great lesson. We will see you next
Happy
week.
holidays.
Merry Christmas.